Neil Gaiman is pretty much my favorite all-around writer, from his Sandman series to classics like Neverwhere, Stardust, and Good Omens. And then, of course, there's American Gods. And since this book is pretty much my favorite thing ever written, sorry Mom, I went a little crazy when I heard Starz was doing a series based on it. And since a few people know of my love of this novel, they wanted my opinion on the first episode. So here is Pure Sarcasm's straightforward thoughts on Starz American Gods, Episode 1. Now, first thing, people who've read American Gods and those who haven't are going to have very different experiences watching the show. And it's not that traditional, the book did it better versus I read the book so the show is fine type of argument. It's more of a knowing what's going on versus having absolutely no freaking clue type of thing. A big part of the show is discovering what's actually going on with all these zany characters. When I watched the show, it was like seeing old friends. When a friend of mine who hasn't read the book watched the show, she seemed more or less just confused. Now entertained, but still confused nonetheless. I know I had the same experience when I first read the book, and maybe that's the thing they're going for in the show as well. So if you haven't read the book, it's best to be ready for what could be a confusing experience. When thinking about the show, I would have to say the best part for me by far is the casting. Ian McShane is generally amazing in everything that he does, but as Wednesday, he's pretty much perfect. In his first scene, he instantly builds trust for me that he can handle such a diverse role. Ricky Whittle does a good job of playing Shadow's quiet, yet strong, and sometimes emotional tough guy. Jonathan Tucker's performance as Shadow's cellmate was comical yet gruff, but the person that stole the show by far was 6'4" Pablo Schreiber as Mad Sweeney. What a great look. And he pretty much had the best scene in the entire episode. Now with future episodes promising Cloris Leachman, Gillian Anderson, Crispin Glover, Christian Chenoweth, and Peter frickin' Stormare, I can't see the quality of the performances going anywhere but up. Also, it wasn't missed on me that the character of Shadow's friend and classic D-bag Robbie is played by none other than Dane Cook. Very fitting. There are a few scenes in the episode that truly sold me on the show. You get a quick introduction to Wednesday and his smart banter, Shadow's cellmate talking about how airline ladies are not to be treated, and then there was the Bilquist scene. I won't go into a lot of detail about it, but trust me, it may have been fairly graphic, but it's important at a lot of levels. Weird CG stuff aside. And of course, the meeting with Mad Sweeney was just the best. Series creator Bryan Fuller is known for his ability in establishing mood in his TV shows, from the ominous Hannibal to the quirky yet colorful Pushing Daisies. This production so far feels dark and foreboding, as it should. Not only with the use of dark filters on the cameras, the hectic weather, but the use of violence and free-flowing blood, which in the first and last scenes in the episode are used very liberally. I also like the occasional use of the camera panning to show isolation. It's a very nice touch. The scene that sticks with me the most is what I'm guessing is the World Tree sets the theme by being rightfully intimidating. Now there are a couple of missteps, as they generally always are. For one, the title sequence, while ripe with imagery, seems to go on and on. And for the music, they really didn't play something that set the mood for me. And speaking of music, in some scenes, the background music almost overpowers the emotion of a given scene instead of adding to it. The pacing of the show felt a little off as a whole. It just felt rushed, like they were trying to get to an action piece or people would just check out. This could be due to the 8-episode length, but this rushing could lead to the main problem that I have with the show so far, which is, as I mentioned, if you haven't read the books, most of what you're going to see makes no sense. I know this mimics the book in a fashion. I'm just worried that too many newbies will check out before the show starts explaining itself. Bryan Fuller is great, but he has a history of being too forward in his thinking with his writing. His previous creations, Dead Like Me and Pushing Daisies, while both incredibly enjoyable and got critically acclaimed, lasted 2 seasons. Hannibal lasted 3. Overall, I enjoyed the first episode of American Gods. You can really feel that Neil Gaiman had his hands in this. I'm excited to see where this series goes. I think if you're a fan of fantasy fiction, you should definitely take a look at it. I plan to watch them all. I personally want this show to last more than a single 8-episode season. Maybe it will force Neil Gaiman to have to write more about this interesting setting. But tell me what you think of the first episode. Are you hooked yet? Leave your comments below and we can discuss. Please take a second to like and share this video, and feel free to follow me on Twitter @PureSarcasm. That's all for now. I've been Pure Sarcasm. Enjoy.